Stevens. 6, Nicholas Cornish. 7, Dylan Hartley. Number 8, Mark Berthelot. Number 9, Nick Pitter. Number 10, Sam Conlon. 11, Blake Hewitt. 12, Matt Warboys. Number 13, Tyson Greenwood. 14,
Good afternoon, wherever you might be. This is Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League action on a Sunday afternoon from the Philippine Closed Oval. This 18th of June for the Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup match between the Woden Valley Rams and the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. Great to have your company on Bar TV this afternoon. Chris Coleman, my name. Nice to have your company as we get set up for this intriguing fixture as we start the second run through of all the games in the Canberra Raiders Cup for this season. Everyone's played everyone once. And the Woden Valley Rams, I think the safe summary of the first half of the season for them is what could have been. They find themselves in 8th spot. They could easily have been considerably higher up the ladder. They have 2 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. One of those wins was a solitary 1-point affair, 23-22 over today's opposition, the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. And again, the Goulburn Workers, they are 3-5. They sit 7th on the competition table. And again, especially that 1-point loss courtesy of a Carl Johnson field goal against the Rams earlier in the season. So both sides really would know that they could have done better in the first part of the season, but their season's not over by anywhere near a long shot. There's plenty to play for. So it's 8th versus 7th. The home team, the Woden Valley Rams, in 8th. The visitors, the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, in 7th. You can see Goulburn out there on the paddock. There's no change to their lineup. There is one change if you have the numbers from the program that was published online during the course of the week, and that is that Michael Dodson will be wearing 18 for the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, not 15, as advertised prior to today. A couple of changes for the Rams from their advertised lineup. Josh Feeney has not come up today. Liam Murphy will replace him in the centres wearing number 4. On the bench, again, Tom Hicks not available this afternoon. He's been replaced by Sean Maloney. So they're the 2 changes from the program for the Woden Valley Rams. The other change, I think, for the Rams, certainly from the last time I saw him in action, is that Keb Vato, their centre in the number 3, has a distinctly different hairstyle. If I'm remembering correctly, he was sporting a bit of a man bun earlier in the season. He's now sporting a bleached hairdo. You won't miss him when he's out there, I can guarantee you that, even if he's into the shade of the grandstand, which is already starting to creep across the ground. We haven't quite reached the coolest day, or the shortest day of the year. But we're not far off it. Beautiful sunshine, glorious afternoon for football. There's a little bit of a breeze. It has picked up a smidgen in the last hour or so. It's not going to make a huge difference to how the game is played. If anything, it is favouring the left of your screen, blowing from right to left, but really there is almost nothing of it. Officially averaging 11 kilometres an hour. I'd be surprised if it was actually that in this. It's called the Woden Valley Rams. It's called the Woden Valley, and that's because it is funnily enough between the hills, so that is providing a bit of protection from the breeze. I can feel it blowing occasionally, but if you have a look around in the background during courses of the game, you'll see there are trees around the ground, and they are not moving a great deal. So we've had the toss. Not sure who won the toss, but as you can see, they're swapping sides. So the Goulburn Workers will be running from left to right on your screen. The Rams will be going, I think it is slightly downhill. I think there is a slight slope on this field. It's not huge. And the Rams will be kicking off as well. 7th versus 8th. Second half of the season gets underway for these sides today. We did have a couple of games yesterday. Last week, 2 weeks ago, because we had the bye last week. But last time out, both these sides lost games that they would have liked to have won. They would have fancied themselves in. The Rams went down 52-12. Bit of a surprise result, the size of that margin, at versus Gungahlin. And the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs lost 34-22 at Yass. But we are away. It's the first time we've had the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs in a Match of the Day fixture on Bar TV. And to everyone watching from Goulburn, whether you're at the Workers Club or somewhere else, nice to have your company this afternoon as we see bringing it up for them, Blake Hewitt. That's the 30, so they're already making considerable ground here. Mark Bertolo makes another 10. There's a couple of big units in this Goulburn side. Back to Hewitt for his second carry. He's unceremoniously dumped right on the halfway line. It's a very, very hard playing surface today as well. We haven't had any rain in Canberra in a few weeks. We've had a few frosts. It has hardened up the ground considerably. It's dried it out as well. In fact, during some of the lower grade games here today, we saw some puffs of dust coming up from the middle of the park. You might spot those later on today. Nick Cornish with the kick. Downfield taken well by Jaden Carroll. And he makes plenty out of that as well. Up to the 30. They go across to the left. That'll be McGee. He's one of the try-scoring machines for the Rams. I think he's been playing more in the back line, but he's moved up to the second row for today, sporting the number 11 jersey. So a little bit of a change in formation for the Rams as they start the second half of the season. That's Liam Murphy wrapped up in the tackle. They come up to the halfway line. Nice work from Moala. I've been impressed with him a couple of times so far this season as well. Kick comes from Johnson. Carl Johnson it is. There's two Johnsons in the Woden Valley Rams lineup today, the other being Luke on the bench. Tyler Cornish having to get down low, to field the kick for the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. They're outside their own 20 already, so the Rams will be regretting that, but it's really an opportunity to pin them back further down. It didn't make a great deal of resistance. Zach Hart brings it up. He's up to the 30. Spread right out. If they can get some quick hands here, they've got a chance to get around, but instead they run it one out. Nope, ball comes free. So Bertolo it was who made the initial running. Brought in a couple of defenders. It was nice to see that. And now we've got a penalty for not getting up in time. And Dylan Hartley managing to draw that penalty. Didn't exactly rush to get up, did he? So the first penalty of the day goes to the Goulburn Workers. We've been playing 2.5 minutes here. And no score as yet. Ball comes free. So we've got it knocked on both ways. And after getting an early penalty to set themselves up in good field position, they then undo all the work to the Bulldogs. It'll be a scrum feed for the Rams. Just looking at that Rams back line, there's some talent in there. Jack Hickson at halfback, Carl Johnson at 5'8". The wingers are Jesse Torres and Michael Geiger. The centres, Kev Vato and Liam Murphy. And Jaden Carroll at fullback. So there's plenty of talent there in that Woden Valley back line. Interestingly enough, we saw Costa Pazantzis, who's normally the starting hooker, but he was off the back of the scrum there. That was Kev Vato. You can see what I mean by his hairstyle has changed. Well, not so much the style. There's still the little bun there on top, but very blonde. Bleach blonde. Carl Johnson takes the penalty. They just tap and go because they're right in the middle of the park on the 40. And Moala brings it up to get them to the 30. A few more metres. Gee, that's plenty of metres. Pryor, it looks like, in there as the ball comes free. Pryor asking for a strip. And I think he may have just got his wish as well. No, he hasn't. But it's being called a knock-on by the Goulburn Workers. So I'll take the scrum. I can't imagine they would have taken the 2 points had they got a penalty in there for a strip. They get to feed the ball. I saw the Workers Bulldogs hooker have a crack there to really try and pull the ball across with his foot. Couldn't make it. It's with Michael Gilmore. He scored 6 tries. He's the leading try scorer for the Rams, and he must have fancied his chances of getting his 7th. And again, ball security for the Rams. Gee, this is a story we have seen on numerous occasions this year. I remember going at Tuggeranong earlier in the year where they lost it so many times. So they lose the ball within sight of the stripe with 4 tackles left on the count. And do themselves no favours. I'll see if I can dig up some notes from that game between Woden and Gungahlin later on this afternoon. We see the Workers Bulldogs A couple of tackles to get out to the 20. It's the first time I've seen them this season. That's Greenwood, is it? It is. He's up to the 40. We're across. No, they go for the kick. Having to turn around and chase it is Geiger. He gets a couple of really ordinary bounces and has to go back an extra 10 metres. He bounces, tries to get out of a tackle there from Hewitt. Almost does, but is then brought to ground. So he's only just outside his own 20. And now we got the whistle. Referee not allowing any nonsense around the tackled players here. He wants this game to be played at pace. Can't say I blame him. I've seen a few games this year where there have been tackled players held down for considerable periods. That's coming very close to the commentary spot here as it curves away. Bounces off the roof of the canteen just in front of us. Still in their own half, the Rams, but not by far. Get him back, ref, comes the call from a couple of people down at ground level. I do like coming to the Phillip Oval. The Woden Valley Rams fans quite often very vocal about the game and make their opinions known. I don't mind that. Brad Pryor, they keep it friendly most of the time too. So we see Johnson onto Vato. Okay, this is really a good chance here for the Rams. They're on the 20. They've got the numbers right out to the left. Moala makes another 8. They should come left. They do. Cut out a couple. And unfortunately, Jaden Carroll couldn't get a handle on it. Ball goes to ground. That was the last tackle, so the ball gets turned over very, very quickly. Tyler Cornish. Across to the far side of the ground through War Boys. Gets a ball away to Zach Hart as he is almost tackled and then sword on the outside. I think it might be Pat Cook way over there. They're coming across, running across field through Nick Cornish. And they've got options both sides. They continue to the right at the moment. Now it's with Tyler Cornish. Cornish up over the 30. Still going. Still going. Almost runs into his own man in Hewitt. Gets up to the 10. Ball goes to ground. Been kicked forward there by Nick Cornish. And I think Nick Cornish has scored a try here. It's a little bit scrappy. But I think he's going to call for the try now. What have we got here? Yes, we have got the try. Well, they've got a little bit scrappy in there, but they've got away with it at the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. And our first points on the board after 8 minutes of play. 4-0 to the visiting side. So you can check this. Now, this is a nice run by Tyler Cornish. He goes 1, gets out of 2, then just turns around, almost runs into his own man in Hewitt. Good thing he didn't run behind him. The pass there could have gone to anybody, and maybe it should have been a case of dive on it for the Woden Valley side and give up the scrum, because instead nobody's dived on it. And Nicholas Cornish adds to his 4 tries for the season with try number 5. And they're the first points for the day. And, gee, they're not mucking around with the conversion attempt. You normally get a chance to show you 2 replays before a conversion attempt, but there we go. As we see Blake Hewitt. He's got 14 goals so far for the season. And that looks like number 15. 8 gone, 6-0 to the visitors. The Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Woden Valley Rams.
Bulldogs, number 6, Nicholas Cornish, converted by number 11, Blake Hewitt. Bulldogs now lead 6 points to 0.
I really do hope this doesn't become another of these games where the Woden Valley Rams do themselves no favours because they find it hard to hang on to the ball. It's been a problem for this side through the course of the season. And it has just cost them badly on a number of occasions. As I said at the start of the coverage, they've gone into this game in 8th place on the ladder with 2 wins, 4 losses and 2 draws. So that gives them the same number of competition points as the Goulburn Workers, who are one spot above them on 3 and 5. Anyway, play continues, and as you can see, Goulburn making plenty of ground. Already up to the 30-metre line. That's with Morgan. Quick hands. Tyler Cornish finds Chris Hart. That's back through Sam Conlon. He offloads it out the back. That's been touched, and the referee calls for 6 again. Captain coach Michael Picker. Charges goes to 5 metres out. Now Dylan Hartley. How that's not held up over the line, I will never know. They try and barge through with brute force from Sam Conlon. Wind up losing maybe half a metre. Now the ball comes out of the congestion. It's with Cornish. Long ball across to Cook on the wing. Now they're 10 out. Referee telling the Rams to get back on side, get back behind the goal line. A wasted opportunity here for Goulburn. Oh, as believe it or not, Keith, what happened there? That's gone straight to Zach Hart, and there's me saying it could have been a wasted opportunity, and suddenly Woden Valley, well, you heard the line about an attacking player being covered in spiders and no one wanting to tackle him. What happened there? Zach Hart covered in scorpions or something. Nobody wanted to go near him. That's the stuff that makes a coach tear his hair out. Goes over, scores the try completely untouched to Zach Hart. 10-0. 12 minutes gone. Pardon me for sounding so bemused, but I'm completely at a loss as to explain that. It's just as though Woden weren't expecting the play the ball to happen. It just, I don't know, I'm lost. We've seen a few easy tries scored. In the Canberra Raiders Cup this year. So the last game that I called out at the West Belconnen ground, as the points, the extras are added once again by Blake Hewitt. And we saw a player go across from about 35 metres out, virtually untouched. That one was nowhere near that kind of distance, but I suspect we could actually call it an easier try to Zach Hart. And suddenly the pressure turns up a bit on the Ash Barnes coached Woden Valley side. Talk about going from the penthouse to the outhouse. Ash Barnes, not so long ago, was coaching the Monero side to a win in the country championships. I appreciate it. It's a completely different side as we see on the burst. Zach Hart once again. Ball's come free in there. He's lost it forward. So the Rams, having not seen the football, in case they've forgotten what it looks like, it's the oval-shaped round thing that's out there. They'll get a chance here. They'll have a scrum on their own side of halfway by about half a metre, I'd reckon, although the referee's now set up camp right on the stripe. Okay, ball comes out. Where do they go? With Jack Hickson. Oh, again, the ball goes to ground. I've just heard a collective sigh from about 30 people in the grandstand within earshot of me there. They are absolutely murdering themselves here, the Woden Valley Rams. They just keep on putting the ball down. Good field position, and that's Brad Pryor. That's Sam Conlon, I should say, for the Bulldogs. 10 metres into opposition territory. Across to the right through Greenwood. and now he loses the ball. Now, I personally would have liked to have seen play continue for just a second there. I didn't see a secondary knock on. Would have just liked to have seen the Rams show a little bit of desperation, pick that up and try and keep going. Kev Vato is a man we've seen, does have plenty of speed, plenty of pace. Would have just liked to have seen him have a chance to pick that up and turn around and at least try to make a line break. Instead, we got the scrum. And again, for the Rams, I just don't feel hugely confident in their set plays at the moment. So that was Gilmore bringing it up. Just seems to be just wonder whether he's hurt himself there. He just seems to be pushing just a little bit on that right leg. Keep an eye on it. Does seem to be okay at the moment. Back to live action. Okay, now that's Gilmore again. He seems to be okay running through now. Okay, Pasansis gives it off to Jeff Morgan. Morgan with a little kick through it. Bounces around a bit. Picked up by Blake Hewitt. One of the Workers players there. I think it's Sam Conlon calling for some attention from the sideline. I'm not sure whether he wants a trainer or just a bottle of water, but see how we go. Zach Hart's been in a lot for the Goulburn side. He was the man tackling that last one. There's Nick Cornish, and now it's with Tyler Cornish. And they've lost the ball forward. Okay, Rams, what have you got? I've talked about the Rams and their inability to sustain possession. The Bulldogs have actually done that a couple of times as well, but they've been able to fight back pretty quickly from it. So the Rams here, 35 out. So they're a chance. Now it's with Gilmore. He charges the line. Can't get through. That's the 30 you can see on the ground in front of him. Dummy half gives it off to Morgan. Jeff Morgan takes it up to the 20. Continue across to the right. That's Johnson. Johnson shapes the dummy first time, gives it to Kev Vato second. Now they're 11 out. They need a big man. Pryor is that big man. He pushes and pushes and gets to about a metre out. Good chance here, right in front of the posts. Johnson, long ball, and it's intercepted here. This is Cook. Cook's off to the races. He's being chased. He gets up to the halfway, where he's slung to the ground. It was Tors v Cook, and Tors eventually got there. But Warboys continues the charge upfield for the Goulburn Workers. Did someone mention ball security a minute ago? I think that may have been the words. Picker, captain coach for the Bulldogs, up inside the 20. The Rams finally all back on side in defence. Hartley, Tyler Cornish, back on the inside. That's Mitch Turner, who's coming off the bench. His first touch for the day, I think. Go to the left through Nick Cornish. Long ball, bounces off the chest of Cook into the in-goal area. It's not Cook, it's actually Warboys over there. Either way, knocked on into the in-goal area, and the Rams will get yet another scrum feed. I don't keep stats. It's a bit hard to keep stats and tell you what's going on and keep an eye on the video screen as well. But I reckon the Rams have had many more scrum feeds than the Bulldogs. But I'd be surprised if the Rams have gone a full set off the back of any of those scrums. It might sound a little weird to say this with the Rams about to feed a scrum 10 metres out from their own line, but the Workies might actually fancy their chances of scoring here in just a moment. It's the one tackle from McGee. He gets up over the 10 when it's brought forward by Moala over the 20, so they are making a bit of ground and getting out of the danger zone. Big charge through there from Carroll, Jaden Carroll. He managed to bump off his opponent. with the penalty for offside against the Goulburn Workers Club. So Carl Johnson adds 15 metres onto the territory for the Woden Valley Rams. So they're just about 35 out. They actually drop it back a little bit further. Vato with the first chance. Little goose step. Keeps pushing and pushing up to the 20 before he's brought to ground. They come across to the left. Through Pryor. Brad Pryor continues to go. He's 5 out. They've got to fancy themselves here. Jeff Morgan heads for the line. Brought down 2 out. Across to the left. It was Hickson, I think, but Gilmore may have been the better option. Now it's with Hallam. Across to Johnson. Carl Johnson kicks it through. And again, fielded straight away for the Goulburn Workers by Nick Cornish. He brings it back out to the 10. Now that's been slapped down. That'll be a knock on against the Woden Valley Rams. I understand what Kev Vato was trying to do in there, trying to just grab the ball, but in the end it has gone to ground. And it's yet again a feed, a scrum. This time it will, however, be the Goulburn Workers. Gee, they're a dynamic side when they get it together. There's some speed over on that far side. Pat Cook and Zach Hart. Pat Cook. Chris Hart scored last time around between these sides, as did Hazleton and Greenwood. And Michael Gilmore scored 3 tries last time these sides met. Well, the ball's come free and it's been picked up by the Woden Valley Rams. That was Hickson. Moala on the charge. Now he's 5 metres out. I'll back the Rams to score here if they don't knock it on. How's that sound? And as I say that, the ball goes behind. And they make it just a little bit more difficult for themselves. They're taking a lot of time to get back on side. I think that's Hickson going to ground. It is. He's taking some time to get up. Halliman at dummy half. Carroll kicks it through. They chase. There's a knock-on in the end goal area, but it's been dived on by the Woden Valley Rams. Said it a couple of minutes ago, and I fancied that they could actually score if they didn't lose possession of the ball. I won't say they've done it in textbook style, but they have actually managed to score the try and bring back the margin a little bit. It's not a try that'll win any beauty contests. As you can see, it's dropped by Dominic Stevens and dived on by Liam Murphy for the Rams. Well, in the end, it's not how, but how many, and it'll be 4 points on the board, and Liam Murphy will be able to say, well, I've got to meet pie today. Kick still to come, 12 points to 4. In some ways, I think it's the Rams might actually feel a little bit of payback for them with that one, because how many times have we seen the ball go to ground and it's gone the wrong way for them? This time the ball goes to ground and it goes the right way, lining up with the conversion. Here's Carl Johnson. He's put it across to the left, but it just stays inside the left-hand upright. And so with 24 minutes in the books, it is now, 24 minutes gone on the clock, I should say. It is now 12 points to 6 to the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Woden Valley Rams. Well, can the Rams do it back-to-back? There's a question that we'll find an answer to. See if we can actually level this game up before half-time. There's still plenty to go. I don't think we've actually had a stoppage yet today. I think we've... I shouldn't mention that, because it's stuff like that. You say that and suddenly the whole thing falls apart. Ball goes to ground. Picked up by Moala, I should say. Moala pushes and charges. Gets up over the halfway line. He's not an easy man to tackle, but he's lost the ball as he's gone to ground. Now, what's the referee going to call here? He's calling it a knock on. Moala, a little bit of a hand gesture as he starts getting up. There were two Bulldogs in the tackle. Scrum to the Doggies. Ball being held in for just a second there by Michael Picker at the back of the scrum. Before he gives it off, Nick Cornish takes it up over halfway. There's that dust I was telling you about. You see the puff of dust come up as Nick Cornish is tackled in the middle of the ground. Yes, it is the 18th of June in the middle of a Canberra winter, and we've got a puff of dust coming up from the middle of the ground here at Phillip. You love the weather, you really do. Tyler Cornish thought about offloading, did offload. Teammate tackled on the 30, still a fair way from home. Hazelton. Tom Hazelton, first time we've called him today. Still 25 metres from the line. Now it's with Dylan Hartley. Rams defence just seems to have picked up a bit in pace in the last couple of minutes. The workers struggling just a little bit to make the ground that they were making previously. Across to the left. Now it's with Nicholas Cornish. Ball goes to ground. Chasing after it was Matt Warboys. But instead it is the Rams getting through. No call of held. So Jaden Carroll gets out to 22 metres from his own line. Now it's with Cleve McGee. McGee does well. He scored 4 tries this season. Like I said, largely playing as a centre. Now he's moved up into the forwards. It's Dan Pryor who's come on. He's offloaded in there. We've got what have we got? Hang on. He's called it inside. He's called them offside. So it'll be a penalty for the Rams. Now they're going to take this right on halfway. They can make 15 or 20 out of this with a good trajectory kick. Let's call it 16. Right in front of us. So that's Liam Murphy. Gives it across to Hickson. Hickson finds Dan Pryor. Tries to stay upright in the tackle. Been impressed with Hallam a couple of times so far this season. Now it comes to Brad Pryor. Brad Pryor still going. Oh, half a lift there from Matt Warboys. He changes his mind, lets the leg go. They come back to the left, and again they're up inside the 10. Maybe the workers from Goulburn just getting a little bit tired late in this first half. They're not getting back quickly. They'll just tap and go from here, 10 metres out. Pushing forward through Dan Pryor. 2 metres out, they'll play the ball. Hallam at dummy half. Has support. Almost comes back to Hallam, but I think we're going to knock on in there. He's lost it forward. He has, so it all comes unstuck again for the Woden Valley Rams. What do we got? 12 minutes before half time. 12 points to 6 in favour of the visiting Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Woden Valley Rams here at Phillip Enclosed Oval on Bar TV. So I'm just wondering whether the Rams are a little bit fitter. Both these sides came off had a bye last week. And prior to that, it was a big loss for the Rams against Gungahlin. And also a loss for the Bulldogs, but it was only by 2 tries. The Rams, well, they don't want to leave anything in the tank. They've got the bye again next week, the individual bye, so they really will want to be going hard and fast all the way through this game. Leave nothing in the tank because they've got the extra week to recover. There's Mitch Turner bringing it up. Across to the right with Matt White. Now to Dylan Hartley. Hewitt looks for a step around, can't find one. Hartley in at dummy half and just tried to rush it a little bit too fast there. Referee has called several times for tackling players to get up, and that's the flip side of that when you see a game where the referee has been on the gun. I'm not saying he shouldn't be on the gun. He's been very harsh on it early in the game, giving away a couple of penalties to tackling players for not getting up. You get players who then try and rush the play of the ball themselves and wind up in all sorts of trouble. Now that's gone around and around with Jaden Carroll. That was a nice little bit of play there. The Rams already up to the 30. Carl Johnson To McGee. McGee to Hallam. Hallam goes sideways, looks for a gap, spots half of one, gets inside the 10. Across to the left, long ball, well retrieved by Jaden Carroll. Had to stop and wait for it, and from the standing start winds up making not too much ground. They still have the ball, though, to the Rams. They give it to Morgan. Jeff Morgan gives it on to Dan Pryor. They're on the 10. Last tackle called. Hallam. Carl Johnson. Johnson kicks through, tries to get it for his own advantage. There might be a try in there. No, lost forward. Referee calls lost forward. Nobody argues with him, so we will imagine that he's got that fairly right. Or he's got that right fairly quickly. Rams. Well, they're all able to get back on side here because the Bulldogs took a few seconds to actually get hold of the ball. Referee blows play back on. 9 minutes left in the first half. And we've had 3 tries scored so far. The game hasn't really got out of second gear. It's still been entertaining for that, but it hasn't really hit the high-intensity stakes yet. I've got a sneaky suspicion we might be in for a pretty good second half here at Phillip this afternoon. Matt White tries to bounce out of the tackle for the Bulldogs. Picker at dummy half, gives it across to Nick Cornish. Cornish onto Warboys. Now it's Nick Cornish again. He's looking for somebody, can't get anyone. Vato tackles him, brings him to ground. Now it's with Hazelton, Tom Hazelton, up to the 40. Last tackle. What's the midfield kicking option from Tyler Cornish? Well, he goes for the bomb. It's a towering bomb. Camping underneath it is Jaden Carroll. He takes it up outside the 10, and that is as far as he gets because Dylan Hartley had chased the kick down and wrapped him up in the tackle. We'll work at the end of that attacking set to have the defence already up and speeding for the Goulburn workers. Referee says there's nothing in that, just get up and play the ball. I'm not sure whether that's coming through or not, but every time the Rams have the ball, there is someone saying, get them onside, get them onside. It's worked a couple of times too. It's certainly drawn, certainly the referees followed up a couple of those calls with a couple of penalties for the Rams. As the charges come now for the home side. Hallam, clever little ball to Dan Pryor. Pryor keeps going, runs backwards for 5 metres, turns around, runs forward for another 8. Run of the day from Dan Pryor. He's 11 metres out. If they can go quickly to the right, they'll score here. And, just wrapped up inside that. He's got the ball away, but it's been called as a forward pass. Oh, wow. So close yet so far. So being the last, it's a turnover. Just so close. That deserved a try. That sort of play there from the Rams. They really did a good job. Just unfortunate. Zach Hart takes it up to the 30 for the Bulldogs. Now it's with Matt White. I tell you, he's looked good today. Start on the bench. He's done plenty. Nick Cornish, Tom Hazelton. He's still short of halfway. Now, again, watch this. If the play goes up through the middle, now they go across to the side. So watch out for the dust in the middle. Cornish with the kick. Chasing it back is Michael Geiger. Dives on it, wrapped up by his opposite number in Dominic Stevens. Big hit there on Jaden Carroll. Nicely done by Blake Hewitt. Rams just continuing to charge. Jesse Tors, you haven't seen a lot from Tors today. McGee on that set, up over the halfway. The cries of get him onside are getting louder from people in the crowd. That's tackle 5. Dan Pryor takes it up over the 40. Quick kick option. Now flattened late was the kicker. Blake Hewitt has actually done himself no favours. I reckon Blake Hewitt's come off worse than that. Than the kicker. Hewitt's still down. His hands on his head's there, just waiting to see whether the referee calls stoppage, and he finally does. That's our first stoppage in this game. It's taken us 35 minutes to get there. Not sure if we can show you that again while Hewitt is receiving treatment on the ground. He's sitting up now, so that's a good sign. Just got a little bit stunned. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to bring this to you or not. Let's wait and see. Well, there you go. You'll see it here just as he goes in. And, yeah, he's gone in to make the tackle or to make the kick, put the pressure on the kicker. And just misjudged it slightly. Got a bit of a bell ringer himself. He is up. He's in the line for the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. And play will resume. 5:11 till half time. It's 12-6 in favour of the visiting side. As Tyler Cornish, he's had the ball a lot today. Takes it up towards the 30. This Workers side very well drilled inside their own half. Michael Dodson gets his first touch for today. See him at 18. He was listed as 15 in the online program earlier in the week. Mitch Turner up to the halfway line. Back to Dodson again. So the big fella's doing some softening up. Vato, one of the tacklers in there. The other one I think was Carl Johnson, it was. Warboys takes it forward for the 5th. See it go through a couple of hands here. I can see Dylan Hartley waiting for it. They don't go to him. They go to Nicholas Cornish instead. Again, the high ball. Jaden Carroll underneath it. Not Jaden Carroll, in fact. It was Michael Geiger that time taking the leap. And the Rams have survived yet another close call. 4 to go till half-time. 6 points the difference. The Rams in possession. They've lost the ball. And someone suggesting that there may have been a little bit of encouragement for the ball to come out, but it is going to be yet again a feed to the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. Really the last chance to score by the time this scrum gets set. We've got 3:30 left on the clock now. The Bulldogs are smart, they'll make sure it's the last chance. Cornish gives it to Zach Hart. Hart runs for the corner. He's going for the corner and he's over in the corner. And now he's able to get it around and scores far closer to the posts than he should have been allowed to. Referee looks left, referee looks right, gets the signal from his touch judges and says that's a try. Well, set up to be potentially the last chance for them to score in this half. And I think it will now be that, because by the time we get through the kick, there may not be much time for the restart. Let's have a look here. This is just a great solo try from Zach Hart. Just keeps running and running and running. Must have Duracell batteries on board because he just keeps going and going and going. You see it here. This is easy as. Pass from Cornish, cross through the fullback Cornish. So Cornish to Cornish, on to one of the Hart boys. And then being allowed to get far closer to the uprights than he really should have been. Zach Hart gets his second try for the day. 16 points to 6, and there is absolutely no rush with this conversion attempt from Blake Hewitt. Taking as much time as he can to melt the clock. It's down to 2 minutes now. And the conversion is made. So he's 3 from 3 today with the boot is Blake Hewitt. That's 3 goals today. Add those to the 10 that he's already scored this season. He's having a decent year with the boot. 18 points to 6, 80 seconds remaining, and the Rams have to give the ball away. Wonder whether you'd think about going for the short kick-off there. They don't. They go for the very, very long option. So Hartley comes in, claps his hands and says, come on, we can score again here, boys. So we've got Hart and Hartley there for the Bulldogs. Always fun for a commentator when you've got so many similar sounding names. Dodson Still going, almost breaks through backwards. 35 out. We're into the last 45 seconds. Chris Hart pushes up over the 40-metre line towards halfway. Who do they go with? They go with Tyler Cornish. Tyler Cornish goes with the Aussie rules kick down the ground. Now, where did he kick that from? Just outside the 40. So, it's not quite a 40-20. It's pretty close to it. We have 18 seconds remaining. Nobody is in any great rush to restart proceedings here. The Rams get around. They're standing there, but they're not terribly keen to do anything other than stand there. It's 1 second, that'll be the bell. And after the charades and the theatrics of, we might try and pack this scrum and have one tackle to do something and take the ball 80 metres and score, we wind up with the halftime break at it being 18 points to 6 in favour of the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Woden Valley Rams. John Croyder from the Canberra Raiders Cup with us now. And John, a game that I said about halfway through, I'm still waiting for it to really get out of second gear. Yeah,
it seems both teams just maybe struggling a little bit in attack, particularly Woden. They're dominating up the middle, but they're just a little bit predictable in attack. But maybe a bit after that week break, and also a lot of players from both sides involved in that country championship. We're just getting used to playing with each other again, just getting into the match. So hopefully that opens up a bit more in the second half.
I've got a couple of notes that I've written here. I've got the word easy written up there for Zach Hart for his first try. I'm still trying to work out what was wrong with him there, because nobody wanted to lay a hand on him. He suddenly developed leprosy or something. He just sort of got the ball and went through. Nobody looked like they wanted to have a go at him. And then the second one, again, a solo try crossing over in the corner, bringing the ball back around. But he has been, I think, the standout for the Goulburn Workers from a side where there's plenty of players who are doing a bit.
Yeah, Zach Hart's scored 2 tries and he has done quite well. I've been actually really impressed by Nick Cornish. He just seems to be everything that's good that's happening from Goulburn. It just seems to be he's got a hand in it. There was also a time probably just towards the end of that first half where he threw a cut-out ball to the second row who just couldn't hold on to it. He would have gone over otherwise as well. So I've been really impressed by Nick Cornish as well. But they haven't had a lot of time in the opposition 20, but when they've been up there, they've made it count.
And the other thing we've seen, again, from the Woden Valley Rams, and this has really been the story of the season, ball security for them. I don't know what they can do to improve it, but maybe they need to spend an entire training session just on catch and pass and catch and pass and catch and pass, because the number of drop balls from the Woden Valley Rams, or the number of times that they've been down in the tackle, they've got up to play the ball and it's gone astray. The ball security for the Rams has not been what it should be in a comp of this calibre, and you will pay dearly for it. And again, we've seen the Bulldogs wind up with possession that they shouldn't necessarily have otherwise had, and they've turned it into points.
Yeah, and that's got to hurt them. Like, just every level of footy, you've got to have a good completion rate to be able to compete in matches, because as I've already said, Woden has probably spent probably had a bit more possession than Goulburn, definitely better field position. But once they get into a promising area, as you said, they're a drop ball, they're just simple ball security. So they've definitely got to work on that. Hopefully, it's something they can fix easily, because we'll have a really exciting game of footy if both sides are able to just cut a few of the errors out of the game.
No, that's for sure. Well, at half-time, it is the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs 18, leading the Woden Valley Rams 6. There's 2 tries to Zach Hart and 1 to Nick Cornish, all of them converted by Blake Hewitt. For the Rams, it's a try to Liam Murphy, converted by Carl Johnson. Second half, not too far away. We'll bring you all of the action here on Bar TV from the Philippine Closed Oval in just a few minutes. Okay, and we're back. I tell you, the players got out there very, very quickly after the half-time break. 18-6 to the visitors. The Workers kick it off. And the Rams, well, they need to get some sustained play together. Dan Pryor starts it off, takes it up outside the 10 for them. Carl Johnson not necessarily as influential as he would have liked to be, and we haven't seen a lot from Jack Hickson today. Hallam and Johnson seem to be developing a really good combination, though. I'd like to see that from the two hats out there. And there's one of them now. Hallam runs a couple of steps from dummy half before he offloads to Dan Pryor again. Wonder if that's a sign of things to come. We've seen Pryor with 2 hit-ups early in this second half. Now Hickson, good kick. Down the throat of Tyler Cornish. He's been one of the best out there for the Bulldogs today. They've had 3 or 4 players, though, who could be up for the man of the match if they continue on in their merry way and win this one. 18-6 the scoreline. Vato and Dan Pryor on the tackle. And now, so there you go. You see Hallam and Carl Johnson in tackling. So the 2 little blokes tackling one of the big boys. Big Bat White from the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. So a few players just sorting out where they should be out there. Dodson takes it up over the 40. Now it goes to Matt Warboys. Winds up going sideways. Picker goes to the right. Kick comes from Dylan Hartley. Oh, that's an awkward one to field there because it's right next to the posts. Get away with it this time, though, the Rams, and they're already up to the 20. The question is, who's got the most in the tank? And can the Rams score first? If the Rams can score first in this second half, then things will start to get interesting. Michael Gilmore manages to pull a penalty. Now the kick comes from their 30. Let's see how far they go. Hickson takes the kick. That's a good one. Look at that. 20 metres he's made there. 22 metres, in fact, I'd say, because he kicked from just inside the 30. Hickson gets to follow it up. Gives it off again to Dan Pryor. Certainly being used as the battering ram in the early stages of the second half for the Rams. Battering ram, sorry. Jeff Morgan. Just realised I'd said it. Come on, I'm a grandfather. I'm allowed to tell dad jokes. Now it goes back to Dan Pryor again. You can see the shadows creeping across the ground from the grandstand here at Phillip. Vato, he's a man who needs to be involved in the game a little bit more, although he'll need his head to remain attached to do that. Cops one high. Penalty here for the Rams. Good chance for them to get right up into good attacking territory. That's the 30-metre line you can see in the front of your picture there. They just go for the quick tap through Sean Maloney. Inside the 20, in front of the posts. They can go left or right. Hallam sends them across to the left through Hickson. Back to Hickson. Across to Carroll. Carroll pushes towards the line. Back in the sunshine. 5 metres out. They're spread out right across the park of the Rams. If they've got quick hands, they can do something here because they've got an overlap further afield. Instead, straighten up and go forward. Straight in front of the post. They've still got an extra man to the right-hand side for mine. They go left instead. Hickson going for the line. He's 3 metres out. Need to try something different. And they do find something different, and that's a kick through. Diving forward was Maloney. But he hasn't been able to get it. The ball's gone dead, and it'll come back out as a Goulburn Workers Bulldogs ball. And Sean Maloney doesn't look terribly happy down there. It's almost as though he was diving forward and started asking the question, what's this big round thing that's coming up to be friends with me? And he met the planet. Well, there's going to be a kick out from a line drop out from the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs by the looks. So Maloney didn't get a hand on it. It was instead led by the Workers. So the Rams will get it back. Long kick. Carl Johnson sets himself, takes it on the other side of halfway, gives it to Pryor. Pryor gets up to the 40. Heard the air shoot out of his lungs as Matt Warboys bounced off him in the tackle. Vato. He's getting himself involved a bit more in the early stages of the second half. I like the look of him. Not necessarily the hairdo, just the way he plays football. Hickson again. Maloney tackled. Dumped on the 20. Hallam. Hickson. They go left. Through Carroll to Murphy. Murphy inside the 10. That's the 4th. They need to keep coming across to the left, to the right rather. Morgan in front of the posts and he's wrapped up. Well, no, he's not wrapped up. He's still pushing towards the line. He was tackled at the 10. He was brought down at the 1. So the kick comes from Johnson. Bounces around. Pinball time. Picked up by Carroll. Is this another set? Carroll is dumped and flattened. It is another set. So the Rams get another go here. They need to hang on to it. They can't afford to keep losing the ball. Dan Pryor, 5 metres out. A chance to put some sustained pressure on. Can they turn it into points? No, they can't, because there's a little bit of a lose forward there. I thought he'd lost it as he put it down in the play of the ball. Referee agreed, and once again, it all comes unstuck for the Rams. It's not just the story of the day for the Rams, it is the story of the season. We've seen it multiple times for them. It cost them against the Queanbeyan Blues here. I mean, admittedly, it was there was also a gulf in class between those two sides at this ground. It also cost them down at Tuggeranong at that Greenway against the Bushrangers earlier in the down at Tuggeranong earlier in the season. So not a great start for them in this second half with a 12-point deficit, sustained pressure. But after 7 minutes, they have nothing to show for it. And now it is the Rams bringing it out once again through Matt White. Already out 35 away from their own line. They just make meters so easily. Michael Dodson is the one who was brought to ground. Now it's with Nick Cornish. His first involvement for the second half. Hallam in no hurry to get up. Kick comes from Hartley. Horrible, horrible bounce for Jesse Torres. He's been kept fairly quiet today. It's not Torres, it's the other winger. It's Geiger. Geiger, he's into space now. He's up over halfway, the 40, the 30. He's got no support. He's going to have to go the whole way by himself. He's up to the 10. He gets to the corner and he scores! Length of the field try to Michael Geiger. There was no one within cooey of him from his own team. There were the rampaging hordes in the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs jerseys behind him. That was a pretty good looking try. He can suck in a few deep ones now. So here's the kick. It's a horrible bounce. He almost must have thought I'd made a mistake to pick it up, to let it bounce there. But Geiger, he runs and you can just see him. He's being chased. That's Chris Hart having a go. Also after him, Dominic Stevens. Nick Cornish joins the charge towards the end, but he had just enough speed. Flips the ball up over his shoulders in the end and gets his name in the book for a try. You can say it's a try against the run of play, I think, there, because even though they had all the possession, anytime you take the ball 100 metres and score it, or 80 metres and score it, it's against the run of play. 18 points to 10, the kick's still to come. Not the easiest of kicks. You can always tell it's a difficult kick when the referee's got to move the sponsor signage. Does the referee have to put it back afterwards, or does someone else go over and take care of that? So in the end, the Rams will feel that they've got their reward for a lot of hard work. I think the line looked pretty good, but it never had the legs. Not converted, 18 points to 10.
Right for the Rams is scored by number 5, Michael Geiger, which was unconverted. The Bulldogs now lead 18 points to 10.
So 49 minutes gone. Our first unconverted try of the day, and Michael Geiger, after letting it bounce, going almost the full length of the field. We'll call it a 90-metre try, hey? And now we've got a whistle. Well, that's certainly what was needed for Woden. Bear in mind they'd had 3 sets in a row just a few minutes earlier down at the other end. Doing some quick mental calculations, I reckon they'd had 9, maybe 10 tackles in a row at the other end inside the opposition 20 and were unable to score from it. Then Geiger lets the ball bounce. It's a horrible bounce. He gets it on the secondary bounce, picks it up and runs 90. Oh, it's a funny old game. As long as the ball is oval-shaped, funny old things will happen. So we've had about a 10-second stoppage there. So the question now is, can the Rams go back-to-back here? Because if they can score again, this game will really start to pick up. I just have a feeling the Rams might have a little bit more in the tank towards the end of this game. They've lost the ball. That's gone backwards. Referee calls it as such. Happened right in front of us here at the commentary box, and I've got no problem with the call from the ref. Vato. I'd like to see him have just another metre of speed on him before he gets the ball. He's got deceptive power in those legs when he's up to speed. That was Brad Pryor, the next one. Now the kick comes once again from Carl Johnson. Oh, well fielded by Tyler Cornish. Took it just above his ankles and held on to it. Wrapped up in the tackle, 15 out from his own line. The Rams need to hold the Dogs down here. They need to stop them from making easy yards. A couple of hard tackles in there on Pat Cook. Didn't like the attention from Kev Bato. Gave him a bit of a push away. You can hear the fans in the background, I think, saying, keep him down here, keep him down here. That's really important. They're just starting to look as though they're lifting a little bit. This Rams side. And across to the right, they've got some numbers over there out into the sun. Very difficult for attacking players to see the ball at times over in that part of the ground. Kick from Hartley, straight down the throat of Geiger. He's up over the 20 though. They'll be up on him a lot faster this time than they were last time. It was actually the 30 he was over. There you go. Making ground. Carroll up to the 40. Rams are all back on side. They just seem to have a little bit more spring in their step at the moment. There's McGee actually in there. Now it's with Tors. He's come in from the wing. The Rams ringing some changes at the moment. A few players coming in off the bench. Jeff Morgan takes the ball into opposition territory again. That's the 4th tackle. Taking their time to get up. Now it's with Pryor. Brad Pryor, that is. And up to the 30. Last tackle. Looking for Johnson. He has it, kicks it right on the 30. Interesting kick. It's an angled one. It bounces awkwardly. Picked up by Tyler Cornish. Cornish is wrapped up again inside his own 10 metres. So the Rams were up quickly in defence. Can they keep them up? Zach Hart gets in the way there. That's got to be obstruction. That has to be, and it is. Well, the Rams with a chance to double up now. Tap taken by Johnson. Gives it off to Luke Johnson. So we've got Carl and Luke Johnson out there. One's in the headgear, one's got the bald head. Brad Pryor pushing to 5 metres out. They're getting set. Look for something between the two Johnsons. I just saw them talking to each other. And it's a complete dummy play from them because it's gone to Hickson. He's offloaded and they scored the try. So they fooled me with a bit of a conversation going on between Johnson and Johnson out wide, and I reckon they might have taken a couple of the defensive line with them. We'll check this out, but the Rams have scored again to close it to 14 points to 18. That's very clever. From Hickson to... Oh, it's not from Hickson, actually. I've given the credit wrongly. That's actually Pezantis has come into dummy half. And he gives it off to Cleve McGee. Why do I keep calling him Clem? 3 times today. You get one of those things in your brain and it just decides, no, I'm going to call him that. Cleve McGee, that's his 5th try for the season. Clever play. And I just wonder, and John Croyd, I know you're busy writing there, but I don't know whether you saw that, but Carl Johnson and Luke Johnson were deep in conversation for just a couple of seconds there, and I just wonder whether that actually managed to fool a couple of the Bulldogs defenders into thinking the ball was going to go out their way.
Yeah, I didn't actually see the conversation, but it was a lovely little run-around play there. His kick goal just shaved in off that right post there. But it was really good work, and they've really got the momentum, so it's going to be exciting last 25 minutes.
Well, it is now. We've got a 2-point ball game. 24 and a half to go. So we call that 55th minute try to McGee. And definitely looking the better side out there in the second half. The home side at the moment. We saw them, though, against the Queanbeyan Blues a few weeks ago here. They came out, they started the second half with a real rush, and then it didn't quite work out for them. They lost that intensity in the last quarter of the game, and the Blues really ran away with it.
Please check your raffle tickets. The orange B93 still hasn't been collected.
Did I raffle ticket today? Most unusual.
It's an orange ticket B93.
So a 2-point ball game. Now the referee calling time off. He's just going to come in and is he going to have a word here? He's calling out a couple of players from Goulburn. I don't think there's anything in it, but this is where we often see this about the 60-minute mark of a game where a couple of players start to get a little bit tired, a little bit careless. And there's good refereeing there to just say, no, time to settle down a bit, boys. Settle it down.
B52, a blue ticket B52.
So the penalty for the Rams gets them up into attacking territory again. It'll be McGee to start it. He gives it off to Kev Vato. Pushes. Wasn't called held the first time. Gets pushed back a couple of metres, despite the protestations of Carl Johnson. That's Brad Pryor. Been impressed with him today. Alongside him and Junior Moala. A lot of work. Probably Pryor's done more work in the second half. I don't know if Moala's been out there since the break, actually. I don't recall calling him in the second half. Across to the right through Luke Johnson. 8 metres out directly in front. The workie's just looking a little bit flat. Johnson to Vato. That is the goal line, right in front of Kev Vato. Referee calls the last, shades his eyes from the sun. Hickson with the kick, it goes up. And it's been lost forward there by Chris Hart for mine. Now, if the Rams have come up with this, they're going to get another set of 6. And he's lost it in there. So we've got a knock on each way. So it'll be a scrum. So the Rams will get it again anyway. Through the feed. They can get themselves set.
I was looking at the clock.
So where are they going? Where will they go here? I tell you, there's a dangerous combination. You can see this back line set up for them. You can see in there Vato. That's him in the 3. Carl Johnson in the headgear's had a chat with Vato. So here's Johnson. Goes himself. He's got Vato in support, but he stays. They look to lift Johnson, and they do eventually lift him and land him down. He's 10 out. Back to the left through Brad Pryor. 5 metres out. Shaping to the left at the moment through Pazantzis. Now it's with Hickson. On to Gilmore. Leading try scorer for the year for the Rams. Now it's back to Hickson again. Oh, they're so close. Across to the right now through Hickson. On to Jeff Morgan. three-man overlap here if they can get it further out wide, but instead go for brute force through Brad Pryor, lose the ball. And the Rams lose the ball, and the Workers Bulldogs come up with it through Blake Hewitt. The referee just says, can we have a moment to get set before you go again? Tyler Cornish, I think that is. Is it a good day for the Workers Bulldogs? Been a little bit quiet since the break. Certainly had a good half. Hartley. 25 out. What have we got? 21 to go. 2-point ball game. Tyler Cornish again. He has done a poultice of work today. He's up to the 30. They're not making ground anywhere near as easily in the second half as they did in the first 40, the Goulburn Workers. Hartley wrapped up on the 40. Last tackle. Kick comes from Nick Cornish. Midfield bomb. It'll land just inside the 40. Well caught by Geiger. He's having a day in the second half. I've spoken to him a couple of times in the first 40. You'd say, oh, it's Carroll this time. Gee, they're similar in build, those two. Hickson. Now with Murphy. Carl Johnson got flattened in there. Went down behind play. He's still in the hands of the trainers. I don't know if the referees looked across to see it. Carl Johnson doesn't look terribly happy. He's still wobbling just a little bit. Jeff Morgan over halfway again. So they're getting over the halfway line early in the tackle count repeatedly here, the Rams. Now it's with Luke Johnson. So Carl Johnson just staying out of things, just giving himself a chance to get his air back. Now he gets it, kicks it into the corner. Pat Cook has to turn around and chase. He gets it just inside the field of play. Can he do anything? No, he can't, because Carl Johnson had chased his own kick downfield, wrapped up inside the 10. Tyler Cornish only able to go sideways. Gee, this defensive line from the Rams in the second half has been about the best I've seen from them this season. Coach Ash Barnes will be absolutely thrilled with what he's seen out there in the first 20 minutes. Have the Bulldogs had a line break in this second half? I don't recall one. I'm not saying they haven't, but I don't recall one as they go very close to that now. Big Mark Bertolo. It's picked up and dumped in the tackle before he can get through. Secondary pass. And again, not quite a line break. Ball comes free, and the referee's called that a strip. Well, we've seen a couple that have been very close to a strip today. Tyson Greenwood, I don't know who was giving it the greatest of ball security there, but it's come free. Penalty to the Workers Bulldogs, a chance for them to actually put together an attack. And they've only had, I think, one set inside the opposition 20 in the second half here. So what can they do? Well, Hartley will start things off. Gives it to Hewitt. He's a man who's difficult to stop. The Rams do that, 18 out. Bertolo again, up to the 10, and we've got a whistle. Okay, what did we have the whistle for there? I heard a whistle. Did you hear a whistle? There was a whistle. I don't know what it was for. We just stopped playing and we'll start it again. All right. So Matt White. Now it goes to Nick Cornish. On to Tyler Cornish. He finds Zach Hart. Zach Hart had Pat Cook on his outside. Couldn't get the ball away. Tyler Cornish comes into dummy half. Gives it across to Nick. Nick Cornish then finds Sam Conlon. Conlon can't get brought to ground. Offloads to Greenwood. Greenwood decides to charge at the line himself. He's never going to get through there because the posts are in the way. The ball's come out the back. And the ball's come out the back, and the referee's coming out to have a chat here. He's saying it's a loss forward. So Greenwood must have lost it forward into a Rams player, and then it's bounced back. That's all I can come up with, but it's going to be a scrum for the Rams. We'll get a narrow escape there. There he is, Junior Moala, who we haven't seen in the second half. He's one of the best for the Rams in the first 40. We haven't seen him for 20 minutes, so he's had a long break. I suspect he's going to be used as an impact weapon now. The question is, who is he going to replace? I hope it's not Brad Pryor, because Pryor's been about their best in the second half. We've got a player hurt down there now. There's a Pryor coming off, is it? McGee. That's McGee coming off with the knee strap there. At the end of the field. Let's have a look and see what's happened here. While we were watching the end of the bench. Oh, geez, that's no good for, I think it's Dylan Hartley in there. He's been just poleaxed, just goes in low with the tackle, and that's a knee to the head. I hope he is okay. He's moving his arms, so that's a good sign. Now holding his head still. When did Price strap his knee? Didn't have his knee strapped at the start of the game. So Price come off. That's a little bit disappointing for mine. I would have liked to have seen Moala and Pryor on as twin battering Woden Valley Rams for the remaining 20 minutes of this, but maybe that was the deal. Maybe it was Brad Pryor was told, well, go, give it everything you've got, and when you've got no more, we'll bring Moala on. Now, it's not Hartley in there. My apologies. Hartley's standing up. I'm not sure who it is. A round of applause to come off. Oh, geez. He's, yeah, very, very groggy. Beard that fooled me. I thought it was strapping from a headgear. Just waiting for the injured player to get off the field as Michael Pickett comes back on, the captain coach. It's Blake Hewitt. Well, he will be a loss for the Bulldogs. He's done a lot of work for them in the forward line. So the Rams bring it forward, and Moala gets his first touch of the ball, takes it up outside the 20. They trail by 2, 17 minutes remaining on the clock, just a tick under. Gilmore can't be tackled. Still can't be tackled. Offloads, ball I think has been intercepted, has indeed. Probably a little bit early and not necessarily in the right place on the field to be trying that kind of thing from Gilmore. I get what he was doing. There's still plenty of time left, that's the thing. Rams don't need to panic. Matt White with the ball for the Bulldogs. It's only a 2-point game, but give away possession here. This turns into a try. Suddenly a 2-point game becomes an 8-point game, and it's a lot harder to come back from 8 points down than 2, as we all know. War Boys, Tyler Cornish across to Zach Hart. Hart shaping up for the corner, and he's gone into touch before he offloaded the ball back inside looking for Pat Cook. That was good defence from the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs to good attack rather from the Workers Bulldogs to get it across field, and good defence from the Rams to push Hart out into touch. There they just turned his speed against him. They turned him sideways, and the momentum took him over the sideline. Later in the day, ground almost entirely in shade here now at Phillip. A few spots of a few gaps where the sunshine is getting through the trees. You'll see one of them in 3-on-1. The ball almost being held out like a periscope atop a submarine. Vato is the dummy runner on this occasion. Instead, it's taken forward by Liam Murphy. The centre partners pair up to play the ball in dummy half, and Kev Vato takes it another 12 metres forward. 32 out. Carroll up to halfway. Johnson with the kick. Cornish or Cook? Cook off to Tyler Cornish. Tyler Cornish runs right into the heart of a line of 4 from the Rams. Moala, one of the ones who wrapped him up. It's been a cracking game so far. Wasn't played at the fastest of pace in the first half. The second half, it stepped up a couple of gears. And we've got a 2-point margin here. Picker has to turn around and chase. He's coming across field as the captain coach. He's brought down by Jeff Morgan, who dived in at him. May have done himself a little bit of a mischief. No, he gets back up now. Nick Cornish tries the aerial route towards Jesse Torres. And Torres up over the 30, up towards the 40. That's not a bad return of that midfield bomb. So they get out to the 40. Carl Johnson gives it off to Cleve McGee. That's with Jeff Morgan. Back to Pazantzis. He hasn't done a lot today, but he has been effective when he's had the ball. Luke Johnson almost finds a gap. Up to the 30-metre line. Well, as the dummy, instead it goes to Hickson. The halfback gets through and it's slapped out of his hand by Chris Hart. And Hart could be off to the races here. He's gone across field. He's looked for a gap. Gets around a couple, runs straight towards the referee. That's clever. He's wrapped up still inside his own territory by Moala and Luke Johnson. Now Tyler Cornish. He gets support. So I think it Picker in there. Just into opposition territory. And coming up is Greenwood. They're over the halfway line. That's Picker. And Chris Hart. Hartley gives it across to Conlon. Across to the left again. They've got numbers. Don't use them running from dummy half. Probably should have used them. I think they may have had an extra one on the near side. I don't think Picker realised it was the last tackle because he looked like he wanted to get up and play the ball himself there. Instead, the Rams take it forward through Luke Johnson. And, well, you don't need me to tell you what's happened. Because I'll start to sound like a stuck record. I would have a feeling that the first 20 minutes of this half for the Rams, probably the best 20 minutes I've seen from them this season. And then it's just gone pear-shaped for them in the last 10 minutes. They've got 11 minutes left to overhaul the deficit. They have been able to keep the Goulburn Workers from scoring thus far in the second half. But Tyler Cornish is very much in the danger zone now. He's a metre away from the line. Picker across to Nick Cornish. Nick Cornish to Hartley. Hartley 5 out. Picker in at dummy half, gives it off to Bertolo. Bertolo, the big man on his back. Held up. That'll be the third. We'll come back out to the 10-metre line. Well, we're about to see Brad Pryor come back on it, and I think that can't be soon enough for the Woden Valley Rams. They're a better-looking side when he's out there. Cornish on that run. Sloppy play the ball. Picker across to Nick Cornish. Cornish hopping and dancing, hopping and dancing. Loses the ball behind him. That'll be a double knock on for mine. Has he just called it a knock on for the... I'll wait and see this. Has he just called that a knock on for the against the Rams? So he's knocked it out of the hand of the ball carrier? If so, that's an escape for the Bulldogs. A bit of a loose carry. Yep, that's what he's called it. So the Bulldogs will get another crack at this. They're a little bit lucky with it. Cornish had Warboys at speed. Couldn't offload to him. Cornish is finally brought down. Rams able to get set. They're all on side. Slow play the ball. Picker. That could have been forward. Only a metre out. Diving over from dummy half. Held up, and held up. Good last-minute defence there, especially against a player of that size. Now it goes to Cornish. Across to Warboys. 10 metres out. They won't go to the left. They've got all the numbers to the right. Hartley, still going Hartley. He's 3 metres out. This is the last. Run around play. Kick comes through from Tyler Cornish. The ball gets tapped free and has gone dead, so it'll be a line dropout from the Rams. They survive yet another defensive set. They've got to give the ball back again. They need to go the long ball. They need to stop playing this game inside their own 20, and then they need to get some possession of their own. 18-16, 8 minutes and 13 left on the clock. There's no hurry here for them. There's no need to rush, no need to panic. It's not the longest of line dropouts we've seen. It goes down the throat of Tyler Cornish. He gives it to Sam Conlon. Conlon is pushed back, wrapped up 35 out. Picker in at dummy half. Gives it to Matt Warboys. Warboys inside the 30. That's 2. Picker asking for the assistance from the referee. And the dummy half gives it off to Bertolo. He gets it to the 20. Picker looks to go himself. Instead, gives it off to, I think it might be Conlon. Now it's with Nick Cornish. Cornish at the 10. Picker really very heavily involved in this set from dummy half. Ball goes free, bounces. Tyler Cornish picks it up. He's wrapped up around the legs by Jack Hickson. Good tackle. Last tackle. Now Hartley kicks, and shepherding it back over the line was Jaden Carroll. He's had to send it dead again. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's at least 3 sets, possibly 4 sets that the workers have had it for, and they'll get another lot. It's the physics problem at the moment. It's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. One of them's got to give. It's a pretty ordinary kick. It's going to bounce all over the place, though, and it does. The bounce beats Nicholas Cornish. Conlon did well to get it up to the 30. Given that he had no real speed when he picked it up. Now it's Bertolo. They haven't made the 20. That's 2 tackles. Picker directing traffic from dummy half. Goes himself, now offloads. Still in there, gets it back. Looking to the 10. Gives it off to Hartley. Hartley has support on the outside from Greenwood. They're 8 metres out. They continue to work the short side. 2 metres out. Now across to Hart. This is Chris Hart. He's still going, heading towards the posts. Last tackle. What do the Bulldogs do with it? Toss it around with gay abandon. Nick Cornish across to Tyler Cornish. He gives it to Warboys. Warboys sends it out the back. Scrabbly kick from Zach Hart off the head of a Rams player. Jaden Carroll picks it up and gets it out to 12 metres from his own line. And somewhere in there's been a slightly high tackle called. So we'll see a penalty for the Rams. Now they need to make some distance here. Penalty only from 10 metres out of their own line. And he takes a big kick, and it bounces inside the field of play, and it's kept in the field of play by Pat Cook. They've rolled the dice one time too many of the Rams. And Pat Cook, he's charging across field. He's up over the halfway, and he's absolutely flattened on the 40-metre line. Nothing foul about it. It was just a very hard hit. Greenwood now. Well, the Rams are their own worst enemy at times. I did say they needed to make some meterage. You can understand what Johnson was trying to do, but again, you've got to make sure it goes out. Conlon. That was on that run. That's the 20-metre line they're approaching. Across to the left through Nick Cornish, onto Tyler Cornish. Long ball to Pat Cook, who will score in the corner and make it a 6-point game with a kick to come and 4.5 minutes left. The Rams will have to sweat on this kick now. If the conversion comes, it'll be good night nurse. If not, then we could be in for some razzle-dazzle stuff in the last few minutes. But Pat Cook gets a try for today. His 4th for the season for the Goulburn Valley, for the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. And you can see here it's just simple play. Work it across and into space with the overlap from Cook. A nice little dummy run from Bertolo and another one from War Boys. But when it gets to Cook, there's no one between him and the stripe, and they're able to score. So that takes it to 22 points to 16. We have 3:45 left on the clock. There will be no great rush. There will be no great rush for the Bulldogs to take this conversion, minimise the opportunity for the Rams to score. The Rams will have to go for the short kickoff, you would imagine. This is a game that's been, like I said, the first half it was just a little bit flat. And the second half has been played at a higher intensity, and I've enjoyed it immensely this second half. As the conversion attempt is made by Chris Hart. He puts it across to the left. He's kicked 6 goals for the season, has Hart, but he can't do anything with that. So there's 6 points the difference. With 3 minutes to play. Well, we've seen some fantastic finishes here. I can't see Woden winning this one, but they're going to go for the short kickoff. They're going to kick it across to the grandstand side. And Kev Vato does well. They get the ball. That's the first step. Now they've got to make some distance. They've got to get it down to the other end. They've got one. They might get a second chance if they can get held up, or if they can kick it into the in-goal area. Well, they've got the penalty. They've got the penalty. No, they've scrummed, they've knocked it on. I thought they'd pick up a penalty in there, but the referee saying he's lost the ball forward. Well, that's just been the littlest of knock-ons. And that is the story of the day, and indeed the story of the season for this Woden Valley side. Just when it has mattered, they have not been able to hang on to the pill. There's 103 seconds remaining in this game. I can't see the Goulburn workers doing anything fancy other than running it up and running it up. And then kicking it dead to wrap this one up. That was Bertolo. And they come across to the right. As you can see there, big puffs of dust in the middle of the ground. And still going here is Matt White. Really, I can't see any chance for Woden to win, to steal this one now, or even to clutch a draw out of it. Hazelton, that was. They're across to the right again. Low ball. Hartley does well to hang on to it. Up inside the 20. Last tackle called. And they drop it over for the field goal. No, Nick Cornish puts the grubber kick through, and it's now Carroll. He's called held, so we've got 48 seconds. Can they go literally 100 metres in 48 seconds? Referee says play it again. Oh, this is what annoys me. Let's just get it played. This is just wasted time. That's wasted 9, 10, 11 seconds, 12, 13, 14 seconds wasted here. And so suddenly, what time there was for the Rams has been diminished greatly. That was McGee. And a kick comes from Charlie Hallam in desperation more than anything else. They've got a penalty out of this. They've got to tap it and go. They've got 17 seconds to tap and go. Or do they at this point? He's called time off as the referee with 10.8 seconds remaining on the clock. The trainer is coming in and asking something. Okay, so the tap and go with 10 seconds remaining. They get 2 tackles if they're lucky here. Morgan, the smart thing to do for the workers would be to just run alongside the bloke and make the last one almost a knock-on in there. That would have been a fitting way for this game to finish as Cornish lets the ball bounce in front of him. Oh, you're kidding me, aren't you? Party trick time for Tyler Cornish. He's kicked it, retrieved it, scores it in the corner to blow out the margin from 6 points to 10. And in some ways, that is that game in microcosm. There's still a kick to come as Tyler Cornish scores literally as the bell went. 26-16, and the kick still to come. That was just, seriously. How do you do that kind of stuff? You can't train for that, can you? Tyler Cornish, he's had a very good day. He is indeed our man of the match, and we're going to try and have a quick chat with him shortly, but watch this. He just comes in, swings his right foot at it, in hope more than anything else. We'll ask him about that in a minute. And then he scores the try, so yeah, what can you say? In the end, 26 points to 16. It might be 28-16. I'm not sure who's going to take the conversion attempt. Last one was Chris Hart. It was Blake Hewitt's the guy who normally kicks the goals for the Bulldogs. It is again Chris Hart. But Blake Hewitt lost to, looks like a concussion. And the conversion is unsuccessful. So 26 points to 16 is how this one wraps up. Finishes up with a party trick try to Tyler Cornish. And he will be our Canberra Raiders Cup man of the match for today. And a 10-point margin at the end of that one. So let's just run through things while we're waiting for Tyler to be brought to us for a bit of a chat. The first half was not the most stellar 40 minutes of football we've seen here at the Canberra Raiders Cup this season. The game really didn't start off at any great pace, and through the first 40 minutes we saw some pretty ordinary ball security from the Woden Valley Rams, and the Goulburn workers were able to take advantage of that and indeed scored the first two tries in the first 15 minutes. They scored first through Nick Cornish. That was set up by Tyler Cornish, and then Zach Hart with an easy one a couple of minutes later. The Rams struck back after 24 minutes to close the gap to 12 points to 6. That was Liam Murphy coming on off a kick, and then a converted try to wrap up the first half by Zach Hart. It was a solo try that he scored in the corner and brought it around to take it to an 18.6 lead at half-time. Second half started off all the Rams for the first 20 minutes, probably the best 20 minutes of football I've seen for the Woden Valley Rams this season. They had a lot of possession. They couldn't turn it into points until Michael Geiger managed a 90-metre try to close the gap 18 to 10. And then a couple of minutes later, Cleve McGee had a great run-around play with Nick Pazanson to make it 18 points to 16. The game hung in the balance there, and it wasn't until very late where it was sealed by the Goulburn workers, when it was a try to Pat Cook in the 76th minute, and then followed up by our man of the match, Tyler Cornish, with, I think we can call it a party trick kick and regather to go over, and we've got him up here with us now. Tyler Cornish, congratulations on a man of the match performance today. Good to get the points.
Definitely, mate. Obviously, very scrappy game to start with, but we hung in there and it got real close in towards the end there, but we stuck it out and we ended up managing 2 tries late in the game.
I've got to ask, that try in the last minute there, when you swung your foot at it, did you have any idea where the ball was going to go? Yeah,
I'd like to say I meant it, but to be honest with you, I was just trying to kick it out, come off my shin and landed straight in my hands, and all I had to do was run to the try, and so I got pretty lucky there.
Now, good win for you guys, because you went into that one 7th place, 3 and 5, so you get back closer to being that 500 win-loss record now for the season. Starting off the second half of the season with a win like that, you really set yourselves up for a good run?
That's right, and that's what we want to do. We were pretty disappointed with that lose against Yass the other week, but I think if we can string a few games together and play some consistent footy, we'll be a chance come finals.
And next week, it's not an easy task. You've got West Belconnen now. I think that's a home game for you next Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. So it'll be good to be back home. But I think they got us in the first round of games up here in West Belconnen. But another tough match, and I think we'll have to grind hard and fight really hard to win that one as well.
Well, congratulations today on being named the man of the match and for picking up a win today. 26 points to 16. We're expecting a tough one. We're expecting a close one, and that's what we got. But congratulations to you, Tyler Cornish, on a great game today.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
There we go. So that is Tyler Cornish, who we'll call the man of the match for today. Repeating that, the final score today, 26 points to 16. The Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Woden Valley Rams. We'll have more for you from Bar TV next week. I'm not sure where we are next week. Oh, we're at Queanbeyan next week. That's right. It's the Queanbeyan Derby. That is going to be a cracker. The Roos versus the Blues from Freebody Oval. It will be a cracking game, 1v2. Looking forward to that one next weekend. I'll catch you then. On behalf of everyone at the Canberra Raiders Cup and at Bar TV, this is Chris Coleman signing off for this Sunday afternoon from Phillip.